Okay, so an artist from Fayetteville, North Carolina, J. Cole, released Adonis interlude, which to me is something. Listening to it for the first time is something that I truly cannot explain the way in which this song makes me feel. Right, and there are many reasons why. I think it's because when the first he says the the younger Jermaine, which just goes to Cole, and the first thing that popped into my mind was the Dr. Dre's Watcher, where he goes, is it Ain't a Gangsta? Which is weird. But it's definitely weird here. And so while I get this as promotion for Creed 3, and Dreamville had the production to be exclusively work on it, there are things we need to talk about in this song that I think deserve further discussion. But it is something that I think listening to J. Cole for a while and listening to that Dreamville roster is nothing to play with. So watching Creed 3 is definitely on my list to watch Creed 3. But this Adonis interlude, which is the mono by J. Cole, is something that we're gonna have to talk about. I think there are many reasons why we have to talk about it, but let's see what happens when we get into it. Okay, so as I said, no one expected me to speak about this, but it's this introduction that gets me every single time. It's that time, huh? Things just ain't the same for that young Jermaine Cole. Still underrated, but far from underpaid, which relates to this line, and it's probably my mind that picked it up. But J. Cole being a millionaire, he has to be solely a millionaire off of his albums that he released or the creation of Dreamville, right? He's a million. He's still underrated. I think that's true. I think, people say that J. Cole isn't a top 10 artist. And I find that difficult because my top 10 consists of storytellers. So it's definitely very difficult for me to say that he's not top 10, and he says that he's underrated, which we can argue he's underrated, but I don't think we can diminish the ability he's put into this game, which is further what we need to understand. And I think he says that some problems did fade, the hunger stayed, which we understand that J. Cole, when he says he's hungry, he just means his ability for the pen, which we can see. He said last year he picked up the pen and started writing verses every morning for 5 to 10 minutes to work on his penmanship, which we could argue his penmanship was never down. He says these thunders rumble like a rumble thunder, which for some reason I don't think I get it. Maybe I'm overlooking it, but a tornado, the hunger to just want to make you to stand out among the one. And this is the thing, I'm fooled by the ones that slumber, the standouts among the one-hit wonders. So when the dust settles, the sun is over the horizon. Y'all should run the numbers, man. Who wants it with me? Which is this is by far one of my favorite couple lines for multiple reasons. I think this is this thing, especially in the 2000s, with J. Cole not depending so much on the 808s and the way he created his music. Everyone said he was going to be a one-hit wonder, or he couldn't release an album without it's not as common now, but he couldn't release an album with a single. I mean, J. Cole's done it multiple times. He's released an album without a single, and it's done great numbers. So that's why when he says, when the dust settles and the sun is under the horizon, y'all should run the numbers. Yeah, because let's look past all the glam. Let's look past all the numbers and look at those numbers. J. Cole was running crazy numbers on that first week. On the first week numbers for the off season, they were off the chart, and LA Leakers was part of that. Like, I think there were many things a part of that. But who want to mess with me? The hardest out, and I say that reductively, which is weird to me, because he says when having EP, he says I am the hardest working out here, right? And it's having EP, which is why I think when he said it this time, I was like, oh, that's kind of a weird way to look at it. I think when you think that your competition is ahead of you, that he's more, I'm more straightforward with it, because he is humble to an extent. So he says he's reluctant to say it, which I don't quite understand why he's reluctant to say it. I think we all realize that he is one of the greatest. I think that's without a doubt. Let's pick this apart real quick. He says, this should go without saying, but y'all playing as dumb as y'all don't want to give me my credit while I'm alive, but y'all give me my credit when I'm dead. For example, that's X, that's Pop, that's Young Dolph. That seemed like a lot of people when they were gone, they were giving credit, but they weren't giving credit when they're alive. That's why he says y'all want to keep playing. I get it. Far as this rapper goes, I'm fearing none, which is a bold statement for J. Cole to make, which we can argue is a bold statement for him to make. We can argue it's not a bold statement for J. Cole to make if he can back it up. And lyrically, I think he can. Eminem said it. Drake said it. It's almost as him, but it's his way of saying, I'm the best rapper alive, which, and I've had this debate with people before. They're like, if you don't say you're the best rapper alive, so when that best rapper alive conversation comes up, you're not mentioning it, that's your fault for not saying you're the best rapper alive, which we can argue that, J. Cole has the body of work to prove that he's the best rapper alive, In this game, we can argue it by his penmanship. We can put it up by his mentor, that Jay-Z signed him in Rockefeller. There's many things we could. He said the cold flow in any genre with many collaborators, with many combinations, which this goes without saying. I think if you have, and this has been proven by case after case after case, if you have a J. Cole feature on your song, you're getting plays. It doesn't really matter the genre. Like that J-Hope and J. Cole song that just came out, that did numbers. That Bia and J. Cole did numbers. Was it Sir? No, it was the other one. Some Bia and that 90 proof that J. Cole was on, that did numbers, right? Like it's proven that the J. Cole, no matter what it is, he's cold in any genre, any flow. He got on Drake's flow and did that. He did that Black Friday on a Kendrick beat, and it's cold. That flow was cold. But it's true that Cole flow is crazy in any genre, because he can prove it in any genre. When he was in a song with, was it Mary J. Blige? That's just been proven time after time. It's a proven study at this point. He says, "Shoot like that boy," supported by Under Armour and reach your goon. This is the thing. So that line kills me, because I think he says that boy in Under Armour, and so when he said that, I was trying to figure out who specifically he was aiming at, which the only person I can think of that he says like that boy, shoot like that boy in Under Armour, which I'm thinking like he's talking about J. Cole, but I think he's talking about Drake, but I'm not entirely sure. Which I say is a weird line, because there was a lot of people being, that might be a basketball reference. I'm overthinking it, because I'm thinking artists that signed by Over Armour or had to deal with Under Armour. Because I would assume he was talking about a rapper when he said it, but he's just saying, imagine saying NBA players, reach your goner, arms and coughing like you, arms are crossed and coughing like you was from Wakanda, which this line doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, that boy that shoot from Under Armour, which that's a weird line to me, because then you say, your arms are crossed and coughing like Wakanda. With Chaz Boatman, and was he sponsored by Under Armour? And I just didn't realize it. He's this guy's favorite. Tons of karma. You see me thumbing through green because I became a gardener. And this is the thing, when he says gardener, I'm thinking he's planted a bunch of seeds of artists before him, because a lot of artists following J. Cole have said they've gotten the game because of J. Cole. I think one was Cordae. I I think the other one might have been Cause or Reason, which JID is what I'm saying is people that have been able to work with J. Cole have all said that they were inspired by Cole. So it's a weird thing to me. He says I'm thumbing in green. He's rich. Gardner, he's always in green. He's rich. That's nothing new. Put up in a supercharger, me and two things, like a double entendre, which is, let me tell you something. J. Cole, Lil Wayne, double entendres. I am a fanboy for double entendres, and that's why and I think that's why he said that line the way he said it. He says, shoot like that boy. Shot like that boy and shot by that boy sponsored by Under Armour. Cross your arms in the coffin, like Wakanda, like you from Wakanda, which is that's like that fears the day where I'm a beach, and that's why I'm gonna see this Creed movie. But it's definitely like this does seem like a Creed movie soundtrack. This does, and for some reason it's great. He want beef. I'm a number 9 combo. Let me tell you something. That line right there got me every single time I hear it, because it's that double entendre. He want beef. I'm a number 5. I'm a number 9. This kills me, because that double entendre is the number 9 combo meal that people get. I think he's talking about McDonald's. He could be talking about any restaurants, but he says he want beef. And most number 9 combos, especially at fast food restaurants, are like strictly beef, which is crazy to me, because he says it, but he says beef. They want beef, but it's so weird, you know. And he wants beef, and it's just like, I'll give him beef, or I give him a 9 punch, you know. Which is that's crazy. Like, that line is without crazy to me. Not one designer am I embellish. Let me tell you, he says not one designer, and that's crazy, because I don't think I've ever seen Cole in designer, which is humbling, but also like showing the real effects of money. He said trying to realize even to spill his heart. This is weird. He says, and this is what I want to draw attention to. He says 16 ain't enough to do it justice, which I think he's talking about the years that somebody got for a crime that went in the mainstream media, but I can't remember what the crime is. It's a weird crime that he got 16 years for. Only reason why 16 years in the game and he still ain't do it justice. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the way that this is a weird double entendre. He said, just cop the fall off. He explained, and it's in the end of the chapter, happy ever after. But this is gonna be the year that fulfills his reign. This is the speculation that the fallout is coming this year, which would mean either it's a boy, is either his child being born, or his son being born, or there's a mixtape out there that's called It's a Boy. And if we do get the fallout this year, and this is what I think. I think when people say that the fallout, and not preferences, right? By saying that if the fallout does come out this year, it's a sad, but it's a sweet year, right? Because if he's gonna do the fallout in a way that I think he is, and that's why I'm saying he says he just copped the fallout, so that means either the album's done, because we know J. Cole's in album mode. It's just it's a boy, or is it the fallout? Is what albums we're waiting with? What album we're waiting for? Which brings me to, because It's a Boy. Looking back at the Dreamville, the actual Dreamville project, Revenge of the Dreamers. Was it Revenge of the Dreamers 3? Anyway, that Dreamville project on Sacrifice, he says that he mentions two of his kids, right? And his wife for the first time in the song, I believe, right? So that makes me wonder, was It's a Boy the birth of his child, and the fallout is coming at the end of that, or is It's a Boy its own album? Because the off season is already off. We already had the off season. It's a boy, but if he's gonna fulfill his reign, I can only imagine what that fallout is. And to me, this would be the perfect J. Cole album to have features and go all out and really experiment on like an album or a sound with features with different artists. So to me, the ideal of the fallout, if we get it this year, it'll be a sad year, but it'll be a great year because we got the fallout and we got to hear J. Cole remain to prove that he is the best artist, and that means new styles. That can mean a lot of different things, a lot of different people. However, to me, the only way, and I say this, and I don't know where that album is, right? But I think the only way for me to say that this is going to be a Cole fallout, is going to be a great album for J. Cole, is either we get a double-sided album, so an A-side and a B-side, like Eminem gave us an A and a B-side, or a part 1 and a part 2, or, and this might be asking a lot from J. Cole personally, but could we get a 30-song album? And I say that only because J. Cole made a reference earlier in another song where he was just like, you put a 30-song album just to do a couple thousand views, which to me would seem Cole as, hey yo, I can prove you, I can go to 30, I can prove you, I can do a 30-song album. I could do a 30-song album and still keep the whole rundown, which is, I know, stretching it, because people were like, most albums are only like 12 to 15, and I think Scorpion would have, what was one double-sided album we got? And I'd have to figure it out, but I think the only double-sided album I think we got was from Eminem, and Eminem's double-sided album, I think Music to Be Murdered By, is roughly 20 something